supplier payments. Today we will start from allocate payments. Now in practical situation, you are entering supplier invoices. After that you will enter supplier payments. Now sometimes you may pay advances to suppliers. After that you will enter the supplier invoices. In that case, if you are entered supplier payment early, and later if you are entering supplier invoices, it will display separately in your supplier outstanding report, because uh, when you are entering payments, that invoices not available, therefore you cannot allocate supplier payment to the supplier invoice. Therefore you can use this supplier allocate payment. From that you can allocate your payments to invoices. Now for an example, I'll generate supplier balances outstanding report. Now in this report there are plus values and minus values. Plus are supplier invoices and opening balances. Minus are supplier payments. Okay, now you can see there are minus 8,000 payment and plus 8,100 supplier invoice. This is because we haven't allocate our payments to supplier invoices. Okay, here you can see that supplier payment, this PAY's payments, payment is March 15, and we have entered later that supplier invoices. Okay, now if you are not allocating any payments to invoices, it will display separately in the supplier outstanding report. Then if we haven't allocate supplier payment to invoices, we need to allocate it separately. Okay, for supplier allocations, go to suppliers, transactions, allocate payments. After that, from supplier menu, you can select the supplier. Select supplier and refresh. Then left side you can view supplier invoices, outstanding invoices, and right side you can view supplier payments. Now if you want to allocate this 8,100 payment to this 8,100 invoice, you can drag and drop this payment to invoice. Okay, I repeat it again. Now if you want to allocate any payment, you can drag. When you are selecting that payment, you can view that red color mark there, and when you are allocating to that invoice, you can see that red color mark change to green. Okay, you can drag and drop, and you can save. From here you can drag and drop. Okay, now sometimes if you are mistakenly select any other payment, you can again drag and drop to right side, and you can allocate again to the correct one. Okay, like that we can allocate. And there are three options. First one, display all invoices. Now here you can view all invoices. Now here tick, there's a tick there. show outstanding only. Now if you take this option, you can view only outstanding invoices. Now we can untick and refresh. Then it will show all invoices, or else the invoice. Now here show outstanding only, therefore it will display outstanding invoices only. Now here you can view this invoice total amount is 90,000, due amount is 90,000. Now if we untick this option, then you can view settled invoices. You can check settled invoices from okay, you can untick and you can view settled invoices. Now you can check this invoice total amount is 250,000 due. Here total amount is 250,000, due amount is 0, and this invoice, second invoice also, total is 100, due amount is 0. That means we have already settled those invoices. Okay, then there are three options. First one, display all invoices. If you select this option, system will display all outstanding invoices. Then second option, invoices between. You can select invoices between, and from here date range, you can select that date range. Now here there are 6 invoices. If you select April, you can view only 4 invoices. Okay, you can select invoices between, and you can enter the date range. Then system will display only that period outstanding invoices only. Then third option, specific invoice number. From here, if you enter any invoice number, then system will display only that invoice number. Okay, like that. There are 3 options for display invoices. Right. Now you can allocate your payments. You can practice this. If you haven't any outstanding invoices, you can enter invoice, and you can enter payments, and you can practice this supplier allocation. If you have any questions, you can ask.
Hi, sir.
Yes.
I have created suppliers, but I can't
Okay.
remember how to invoice them. If you could
Okay.
kindly show me.
Right. Okay. Go to suppliers, transactions, supplier invoices.
Okay.
After that, click add supplier invoice. Then from here you can select supplier, and you need to enter supplier invoice number here. From items you can select items, or if you want to enter to GL accounts, you can uh, select that GL account, and from here you can enter the amount.
Okay. Right.
Okay, you can allocate payments like that. Now, after you allocate payments, if you click this plus mark, you can view what are the payments you have allocated to this invoice. Okay, you can click this plus mark, and you can view what are the payments you have allocated to this invoice. And when you are allocating, if you are mistakenly select incorrect invoice, you can unallocate this payment, and you can allocate to correct invoice. After you completely allocate invoices, you can view that due amount is 0, and if there is any pending amount, due amount, you can view under this due. Okay, now sometimes you may pay exact amount for that invoice, or you may pay from one invoice more than one, from one payment you are settling more than one invoices. Now assume from this 5,000 payment you are paying 500 to this 117 invoice, 500 for this 120 invoice, and 4,000 for this 122 invoice. In that case, we cannot directly pay like this. For this situation, we need to select this split unallocated item amount option. Okay, you can tick this option. After that, you can settle your payments to invoices. Now, after you tick this option, split unallocated item amount option, you can drag and drop that pay invoices. Then there's a new window will open. From this window, you can enter the settlement amount. Now assume we are paying 500 for this 117 invoice. You can enter 500 for this in this window, and you can click OK. Then you can see total amount is 978, due amount is 478, and payment 500. Like that, you can now here also you can view that total amount of this payment 5,000, unused amount 4,500. Now again you want to settle 500 for this invoice. You can drag and drop. New window will open. From here you can enter 500. Here also you can view now 500, and this 4,000 you can allocate to this invoice. Okay, now this invoice you can view 4,000. Total amount is to 20,250. Due amount is 16,250. This payment amount 4,000. Now you can view this pay 103 payment. 103 payment. From 103 payment you have allocated 3 invoices. Okay, if you want to pay, or if you want to settle more than one invoices from one payment, you can use this split unallocated item amount. Okay, now you can practice this one. You can either deselect these payments, and you can practice. If you want, you can enter another payment and receipt, or payment and supply invoice, or you can same payments you can unallocate and you can allocate again. Okay, right. Now I'll quickly go through this supply allocation. Uh, you can allocate supplier invoices when you are doing payment. Sometimes you may enter supplier payments before the invoice. Uh, if you are entered supplier payment before the supplier invoice, you cannot allocate that uh, supplier invoice. Therefore, you can use this allocate payments, go to suppliers, transactions, allocate payments. After that, you can select the supplier and refresh. Then you can view your supplier invoices and your supplier payments. There's an option show outstanding only. If you tick this option, you can view outstanding invoices only. If you untick this option, you can view all invoices for that supplier. Okay, if you are allocated, you can view this due amount is 0. Okay, now there are three options for display invoices. First one, all invoices. If you select this option, all invoices, you can view all invoices, all outstanding invoices you can view. Second option, invoices between, display invoices between, and you can select the date range. After that, select the date range, you can refresh. Then you can view only outstanding invoices in this period. Third option, specific invoice number. You can select this option and you can enter invoice number. And refresh. Then system will display only that invoice. Like that, you can view invoices, and after that you can settle your invoices, your payments to invoices. Right side you can view supplier invoices, sorry, left side you can view supplier invoices, and right side you can view supplier payments. And if supplier returns available, you can view supplier returns also in this right side. Okay, now you can allocate your supplier payments to supplier invoices. You can select the payment and you can drag and drop to uh, correct invoice. Okay, when you are dragging, you can view there's a red color mark, and if you are allocating to an invoice, you can view that red color mark will change to green. After you allocate that payment, you can view total amount is 8,100 and due amount is 0. And if you are by mistakenly, if you are allocated to incorrect invoice, you can drag and drop again to right side, then uh, that invoice will unallocated. After you allocated invoices, this due amount will be 0, and by clicking this plus mark, you can view what are the allocated payments. Okay, next split allocation. Now you can allocate more than one invoice from one payment, one supplier payment. In that case, if you want to allocate uh, more than one invoices, you can use this split unallocated item amount. You can take this option, and you can drag and drop your payment to invoice. From here, you can enter the allocated allocation amount. When you are allocating this, you can see this total amount, and you can view due amount, and there's a payment. And from this supply payment also, you can view total amount and unused amount. After you allocating, If you are fully allocated the supplier payment, it will remove from this screen, and you can view that total amount and due amount and supplier payment amount this invoices side. Okay, after correctly allocation, you can save this supplier allocation or allocate payment. Right, if you have any questions, you can ask. Right, next we will move to supplier adjustments. Now sometimes due to some reason, due to some audit, from the audit or any other reason, sometimes we need to change our supplier balances. Okay, in that case we can use these supplier adjustments. Go to suppliers, transactions, supplier adjustments, and click add supplier adjustments. From here we can select the supplier, and after you select the supplier, you can view supplier balance, and from effect you can select increase or decrease. From here you can increase your supplier balance or decrease your supplier balances. Now if you want to increase your supplier balances, you can select increase, and if any taxes available for this supplier, you can select tax type, or you can select no tax. Then by affecting account, you can select why you are changing this supplier outstanding, and you can select any GL account. After that you can enter reference number and supplier adjustment amount. Now here we are adjusting supplier balance, or we are increasing supplier balance by 1000 rupees. And from here you can enter any description related to this supplier adjustment, and you can enter the comment, and from date you can select the date for this supplier adjustment. Okay, you can select the transaction date. After that you can process this supplier adjustment. Okay, and if you want to decrease your amount, you can select decrease. After you select the decrease, you can view your outstanding invoices. Now if you want to allocate this supplier adjustment to any payment, supplier adjustment to any supplier invoice, you can select from here. Okay, sometimes if you supplier has sent the invoices and you are not agree with that amount, if you want, you can change those amounts from this supplier adjustments. Okay, you can view supplier outstanding only when you select this decrease only. Okay, after that you can process this supplier adjustment. Okay, now you can see earlier it was 241,907. Now its balance is 240 because we decrease the supplier balance. Okay, now you can enter supplier adjustments. Okay, now we have completed up to supplier adjustment. This output tax adjustment and input tax adjustment not available in Sri Lanka. Now, if you have any questions related to supplier transactions, you can ask. Okay, from supplier purchase orders, we can order goods, and from supplier invoices, we can enter our purchases to the system. It's like GRN, and if you are returning goods to supplier, you can use these supplier returns, and when you are entering supplier payments, you can use these supplier payments. And if you want to allocate supplier payment to supplier invoice, you can use allocate payments. And if you want to adjust supplier balances, you can use supplier adjustments. Okay, next we will move to supplier reports. Go to suppliers reports. First one, list of suppliers. From here, you can select suppliers, or if you don't select any supplier, you can view all supplier list. Okay, from this report, you can just generate who are the suppliers, and from active, you can select active, inactive, or both suppliers. From category, if you have any supplier categories, you can select supplier category, or you can select, if you don't select any category, you can view all supplier categories. And from style, you can select summary or detailed report, and after that you can click view report. From here you can view supplier name, supplier category, active, then contact name, telephone number, balance, supplier balance. Okay, now in this report options, there are two options, summary and detail. If you select detail, you can view supplier addresses and contact details. Okay, first report, you can select summary. Summary report, you can view only supplier name, supplier category, active, contact name, telephone, and supplier balance. If you select detail, you can view supplier address, physical address, postal address, and fax, mobile, email, credit limit. Those details also you can view. And if you select this show user defined fields, you can view that supplier user defined fields also. You can add user defined fields from here, company, change company settings, user defined fields, supplier. From here you can change these labels, and you can enter supplier user defined fields from this user defined fields. Okay, and these reports you can save as PDF, CSV, Excel, or image. Okay, these formats you can save this report. In addition to that, from this list of supplier also, you can view that supplier list. And from here you can customize this supplier list grid. You can select or you can tick required column, and you can tick untick if you want to remove any column. Okay, now you can generate this supplier listing report, list of suppliers. You can generate the report changing that options. You can select suppliers, or you can select supplier categories, and you can change summary detail like that. You can change the filters and you can generate the report. Okay, like that you can generate a supplier report, and from here by clicking this email button you can directly email this report, and if you want to print you can print, and here you can view number of pages of this report, and from here you can save, and from this menu you can select what's the format you need to save. You can save as PDF, CSV, Excel, like that. You can select the format of this report. Okay, next we will move to purchases by supplier. From here also, from report filters, you can select suppliers and you can select active, inactive or both suppliers. You can select supplier category from category, and report options. You can select date range. You need to generate the report. In this date range, you can select monthly, quarterly, yearly, month to date, quarter to date, year to date, custom to date, and last month, last quarter, last year, and custom dates and all. If you select monthly, you can view only this month. You can view the date range 1st May 2021 to 31st May 2021. If you select quarterly, just a second. If you select quarterly, you can view your current quarter and yearly. And if you want to enter some dates, you can select this custom dates and you can enter the date range to here. You can select any date range for under custom dates. Okay. After that, you can enter. You can tick if you want to add supplier returns to this report. You can tick this option, and from style you can select summary. After that, you can click view report and you can generate the report. Okay. Now here you can view purchases by supplier report, company name available here, start date, end date, number of pages, and from here you can view supplier invoices and quantity and purchase amount. Now from this RTN, and there's a minus amount, that is you have entered supplier returns to this supplier. Okay, you can view each supplier name and transactions and total for this supplier. Finally, you can view the brand total of the supplier. Now under style you can select detail. If you select detail, you can view each purchase order or each supplier invoice, transactions, Now in this report, if you select detail, you can view each supplier invoice, item, item quantity and total purchases. Now if you select summary, you cannot view line items of that supplier invoice. You can view only total quantity and total purchase. Okay, the difference between summary and detailed report. In detailed report, you can view line items of that supplier invoices. You can view line item, quantity, and total purchases. And summary report, you can view only uh, that total quantity and total purchases of that particular supplier invoice. Okay, this report also you can email, print, or you can save as PDF or Excel. Okay, now you can generate your report. Okay, next we will move to supplier balances based outstanding report. From here, you can generate your supplier outstanding. You can view your supplier outstanding, age analysis, total due, current period, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days. Okay. And there are few options. From here you can select run as date. Now if you want to view your supplier balances backdated report, you can select that date and you can generate the report. And from here suppliers, you can select your supplier, or if you don't select any supplier, you can view all suppliers. And from this category also you can select supplier categories. And from status you can view active, inactive, or both suppliers outstanding. And from style you can select summary and detail. We will first generate a summary report. Now if you select summary report, you can view supplier name and outstanding only. And if you select detail, you can view each supplier transaction wise outstanding. Now in summary report, you can view only that supplier name and outstanding amount. If you select this detail, you can view supplier name and transaction date, transaction reference number, amounts, like that. Each transaction wise you can view. Next, exclude zero balances, supplier with zero balances. Now you can view here some zero amounts also there. That means we haven't allocated our payments to supplier invoices. If you tick this option and you can refresh, now that zero amount suppliers will not display. Okay, if you haven't allocated your payments to invoices, that supplier invoice and supplier payments will display separately. And if you want to exclude that zero balances suppliers, you can tick this option. Okay, now here you can view again that zero balance supplier. If you tick this option, exclude, that zero balance supplier will not display. Then display balances in supplier's currency. Now if you tick this option, you can view supplier balances in supplier's currency. Now here you can see this AED, then dollar amounts, RM, those values will available. And if you want to generate your report, supplier outstanding report in supplier's currency, you can tick this option. Okay, next one, if you untick this option, you can view supplier outstanding in local currency. Okay, all suppliers balances you can view suppliers currency, local currency. Now this report, I have selected use suppliers currency, foreign currency, this report local currency. Okay, and also if you tick on this display balances in suppliers currency, you cannot view grand total of this supplier outstanding. Now here we have untick this option. If you if you unselect this view suppliers currency, you can view the grand total of that supplier outstanding report. If you tick display balances in suppliers currency, you cannot view grand total because there may be some other currencies, then total will not correctly display as grand total, and if you want to view grand total, you need to untick this use foreign currency tick. Okay, after that you can generate supplier balances days outstanding report. Okay, now you can generate this supplier balances days outstanding report. Okay, now this report also you can email or print and save as Excel or PDF. From here you can save as PDF or Excel, or you can print or email. Right, if you have any questions up to now, you can ask. Right, next, actually now when you are generating these reports, I think you can remember when you are doing company settings, uh, here display inactive suppliers for when selection reports. Uh, if you untick this option, inactive suppliers will not display in that report. Uh, so if you want to include inactive suppliers in reports, you can tick this option. Okay, now from here you can active or inactive your suppliers, and from this general settings, if you want to include inactive suppliers in your reports, you can tick this option, and then only you can view inactive suppliers in your reports. Okay, next we will move to supplier statement. From here we can generate supplier transaction report or supplier statement report with transactions. From report filters, you can select suppliers, and from here you can select active, inactive, or both suppliers. From category, you can select supplier category, and under report options, you can select date range, monthly, quarterly, yearly, month to date, and last month, last quarter, last year, custom date, or all. Then there are few options. Show balance brought forward. Now first we will generate this report. Okay, now you can view your supply statement. If you take this option, you select only few suppliers. I'll generate the report again. Now in this report you can view opening balances, and if you untick this option, show balance brought forward, I untick this option. Okay, supply opening balance will here each period, and from here now there are another options. Exclude fully allocated invoices. If you have settled fully, if you take this option, that fully settled outstanding in fully settled invoices will not display. Okay, then negative balances. If you want to exclude zero balances and negative balances, those suppliers will not display. And if you want to display only, now for an example, if you want to remove balances, supply balances less than 2500, you can take this option less than, and you can enter in balance here, and system will exclude balances, supply balances less than 2500. Now for an example, if your supplier has less than 2500 balance, those suppliers will not display. And you cannot select zero, negative and less than all at once. If you select less than, then other zero and negative will inactivated. So if you want to exclude zero suppliers, zero balance suppliers, you can take this option. And if you want to exclude negative balances suppliers, you can take this option. Okay, now here I have ticked this brought forward amount. Here brought forward amount not available, that supplier opening balance is available. If you tick brought forward, system will display. Now we have generated report 1st of May 2021. So system transactions, under transaction it will display that transactions, and prior to this period balance will display as brought forward balance. Like that you can change these filters and you can generate the report. Now if you tick this option, show balances brought forward, system will display brought forward balance. And if you want to exclude fully allocated invoice, you can tick this option. And if you want to view statement in supplier's currency, you can tick this option, use foreign currency. And when you are generating the report, if you want to exclude zero balances suppliers, you can tick this option. Or if you want to remove negative supplier balances, such as now if supplier has paid advance payment and we haven't entered supply invoices, those suppliers are negative balances suppliers because we have paid advance payment. So if you want to remove or if you want to exclude those suppliers, you can tick this negative. And if you want to generate this report, suppliers who are balances some amount, you can enter that amount here, and uh, you can tick this option. Then less than this amount suppliers will not display in the report. Okay, now you can generate that supplier statement report. You can change these uh, options and you can generate the report. Okay, if you have any questions, you can ask. Okay, we will take a short break, 10-minute break. We will start at 10:45. Okay, we'll start the session. If you have any questions, you can ask about reporting, or else we will move to next report, supplier transactions. Okay, from this report, we can generate suppliers transaction for a particular period. From date range, we can select the date range. And from here, suppliers, we can select the supplier, or we can select all suppliers. And from category, we can select supplier category. If you don't select any supplier category, system will display all supplier categories. And from status, you can select active, inactive, or both suppliers. From transaction type, you can select supplier adjustment, supplier invoice, supplier opening balance, supplier payment, supplier return. And if you don't select any transaction type, system will display all transaction types. Next, use foreign currency. If you tick this option, system will display transactions in suppliers currency. If you have foreign suppliers, system will display that foreign currency. Right. In this report, you can view opening balance, transactions, and closing balance. And after that, you can view movement for the period. That is, this period, you can view the movement for the period. And if you untick this option, you can view all transactions in local currency, and you can view the grand total. Here you can view supplier payments, supplier invoices, supplier adjustments, supplier returns. You can view, and if you want to select a particular category, if you want to select supplier payments only, you can select supplier payments, and you can generate the report. This report also you can save as PDF, Excel, or CSV, or you can print or email. Right, now you can generate this supplier transactions report. You can generate the report, change these transaction reports, transaction types, and foreign currency. Okay, next we will move to supplier purchase orders report. From here, you can select date range. And now here I have selected yearly, and if you want to select previous year, you can select this last year. And if you want to select after you select the date range, you can view the date range. Now I have selected previous financial year. Now under suppliers, you can select suppliers, and categories, you can select supplier categories. You can select active, inactive, or all suppliers. And from document status, you can select all, confirm, cancel, pending, overdue, purchase orders. Now you can remember when you are doing that supplier purchase orders, there are few status: overdue, confirm, cancel. Those status you can select from here: confirm, cancel, pending, overdue, invoice, purchase orders. If you want to select all documents, you can select all. And if you want to view supplier's currency, you can tick this option and you can view report. From here, you can view purchase order date, delivery date, reference number, or purchase order number that supplier's reference, and you can view supplier name, exclusive amount, tax amount, total, and status of that purchase order. Okay, you can view status, invoice confirmed, overdue. And if you untick this option, use foreign currency, you can view the grand total. Okay, this report also you can export to PDF, Excel, or CSV. I'll start other report also, supplier purchase orders by supplier. Now from this report also you can generate supplier purchase orders. And difference between those two reports, supplier purchase orders and supplier purchase orders by supplier. Now supplier purchase orders report, you can generate report as a list of purchase orders. Now in this supplier purchase orders by supplier report, you can view the purchase orders supplier wise. Okay, now you can view a supplier name available, under that purchase orders available. Okay, first report, it's only list of purchase orders, but second report you can sort purchase orders by supplier name. You can select suppliers or supplier category, and from here you can select the date range, and you can select summary or detail from style, and status you can select confirmed, cancel, pending, overdue, invoice, purchase orders. And from here use foreign currency. If you tick this option, you can view purchase orders in supplier's currency. Now here I have generate summary report, generate detailed report also. I select all date range and style detail. Now if you select summary, you can view that purchase order date, delivery date, reference number, invoice, quantity, total quantity and amount. Now if you select detail, you can view each purchase order item wise. You can view line items also, and you can view the quantity of that item and total purchases. This is detailed report. In summary report, you cannot view each item of that purchase order, but if you select detailed as a style of that report, you can view each items and quantity in that purchase order. Okay, from here, if you select summary, you cannot view individual items in that purchase order. If you select detail, you can view individual items of that purchase order. And from status, you can select confirmed, cancelled, pending, overdue, or invoice purchase orders. Okay, now you can generate these two reports, and you can check the reports changing filters.
Sir, for us to see all these ranges and all that, we should have at least more than 10 customers, right?
No, more than one customer. If you have two customers, yeah,
Yeah.
you can.
Is
Yeah,
that sufficient?
yeah.
Okay. It seems like the same people coming back and forth, so it doesn't have a kind of a variations. I was wondering, should I
Yes, yes,
create
yes.
more? Yeah,
True. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
If you have free
I
time,
should do
you can
some
enter.
homework.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Next, we will move to supplier invoices report. Go to suppliers reports, supplier invoices. From here, under date range, you can select your date range, and you can select suppliers. From category, you can select supplier categories, and status, you can select active, inactive, or both suppliers. And if you want to include supplier returns in this report, you can tick on this supplier returns. And if you want to view supplier invoices in foreign currency, that means supplier's currency, you can tick this option. Okay, after that you can view report. From this report, you can view that supplier invoice date, invoice number, and supplier invoice number, supplier due date. If you have any anticipated payment date, you can enter that, and exclusive amount, tax amount, total purchases, and total outstanding. And here you can view this RTN return in minus amount, that means supplier return. If you tick this option, supplier returns include, you can view supplier returns also. And if you tick this use foreign currency, you can view that transaction in foreign currency. And if you untick this option, you can view all transactions in local currency, and you can view the grand total. From here you can view grand total. Now here this anticipated payment date, you can go to supplier invoices. You can open that supplier invoice, go to options, anticipated payments. From here you can click add, and you can enter the anticipated payment date. Then I refresh this report. Then you can view that anticipated payment date. And from here also, if you want to add anticipated payment dates, you can add anticipated payment dates, and by sorting these headings, you can view what are the pending anticipated payments. And from reports also, you can view supplier purchase orders and supplier invoices. And from this grid also, you can go to transactions and select purchase orders. From here also, you can view that purchase orders or supplier invoices. Okay, now you can generate this supplier invoices report. Okay, we will move to next report, supplier unallocated payments. Now from this report, you can generate report with unallocated payments. And by checking these unallocated payments, you can do the supplier allocate payment. Okay, from here you can use supplier, the transaction date, payment number, and payment amount, unallocated amount. You can generate this report for a particular period, and you can select, you can include supplier returns and adjustments, and you can view this report in foreign currency. Okay, if it is written there, you can view returns and customer supplier adjustments also. Right, now you can generate this report. This report you can utilize for supplier allocations. Okay, and if you can view that total payment amount, and if you have allocated partially to in particular invoice, you can view the unallocated amount. Next report is emails sent to suppliers. From here you can view report uh, emails sent to your suppliers. You can view that your purchase orders or supply payments you send to suppliers. You can view the date, sent from, sent to. You can view the supplier name, recipient, type, that document type, and document number. Okay, sometimes in your system you cannot view because it's educational version. Therefore sometimes in your system you cannot view this report. Okay, right now we have completed the supplier reports. If you have any questions, you can ask. Okay, next we will move to special. Now from special, you can adjust your opening balances. Now you can enter your opening balances from when you are creating supplier. From here you can enter your supplier opening balance, or from this company opening balances. From here also add suppliers. From here also you can enter your supplier opening balances. And after you enter supplier opening balances and later you found some of your supplier opening balances incorrect, therefore you want to change the supplier opening balances. In that case you can use this special option and adjust opening balances. From here you can select that uh, supplier, and you can enter why you are changing the supplier opening balance, and your current opening balance will display, and you can enter new opening balance, and you can select opening balance as a date. Okay, now here this supplier opening balance is 250,000. If you want to change, you can change that opening balance, and you can save. Right, like that you can change your opening balances. If you want to change, go to suppliers, special, adjust opening balances, select supplier, enter reason why you are changing supplier opening balance. System will display current opening balance. Now this current opening balance is 50,000. Earlier it was 250,000, and we have changed to 50,000. From here you can enter new opening balance and you can save. Okay, now you can adjust your supplier opening balances. Okay, now we have completed the supplier module. We'll quickly go through this module. First, you can create suppliers from add supplier. You can enter supplier name, category, address, contact details, and if you have foreign currency, you can select that supplier's currency and tax rates. You can enter supplier bank details, additional contacts, user-defined fields, and if you have different purchase order layout for that supplier, you can select that layout from report layouts. Then you can view list of suppliers. You can customize this grid by clicking this customize grid button. You can tick required columns and you can untick if you want to remove any column. You can sort this grid by these headings. By clicking these headings, you can sort ascending or descending order. You can create supplier categories by clicking this add category. Enter supplier category and save. Then supplier transactions, you can enter supplier purchase orders. Select the supplier, enter items, and you can email or you can print this supplier purchase order. You can view supplier purchase orders from here. You can view supplier name, document number, date, amounts, and status. If you want to print or delete more than one purchase order at once, you can select those documents and you can print or delete. Or if you want to update the status, you can update status. You can update that purchase order status from here. Then supplier invoices, you can add supplier invoices. Click add supplier invoice, select supplier name, enter supplier invoice number, and if you have any purchase orders you send to supplier, you can select from this list or you can enter that purchased items. In addition to that, you can convert your purchase orders to invoice. Go to purchase orders, actions, and create invoice. Next, supplier returns. If you are returning goods to suppliers, you can enter supplier return, and from here you can select the supplier and enter return items, or you can go to supplier invoices and click actions, create supplier return. Next, supplier payments. You can add supplier payments from here. Select supplier. You can select the payment invoice, or if you are paying advance, you can enter payment amount without selecting unpaid invoices. You can enter description, date, and payment method. From bank account, you can select the bank account. Next, allocate payment. If you haven't allocated your supplier invoices to payment, you can allocate from here. Then supply adjustment. If you want to change your supplier balances, you can use these supplier adjustments, especially when you are entered after your audits. Sometimes you cannot change previous balances. In that case, you can use this supplier adjustment for change supplier balances. You can increase or decrease supplier balances. Next, supplier reports. From here, you can view list of suppliers, purchases by suppliers, supplier outstanding report. You can view detailed or summary report. You can view report in supplier's currency or local currency. In supplier transactions, supplier statement reports. From transaction report, you can view, you can select transaction type, or you can select all types. From here, date range, you can select a date range. And supplier purchase orders by supplier. These reports you can generate for a particular supplier or all suppliers. Then you can select date range, you can view summary report or detailed report, and from status you can select confirmed, cancelled, pending, overdue, or invoice or purchase orders. And if you want to view in supplier currency or foreign currency, you can tick this option. Next, supplier invoices. You can view supplier invoices report. Then supplier unallocated payments and emails sent to suppliers. Okay, finally, we have done supplier adjustment. You can enter supplier opening balances when you are creating supplier or when you are implementing the system. Later, if you found that supplier opening balance is incorrect, you can change supplier opening balance from suppliers special adjust opening balances. You can select supplier here, and you can change or you can enter new opening balance. Okay, we have completed supplier module. If you have any questions, you can ask. And when you are entering supplier invoices, if you want to attach any documents, you can attach that documents, or from options you can view invoice history, and you can attach documents. Or if you want to add anticipated payment dates, you can add anticipated payment dates. And if you want to select this supply invoice for a particular analysis code, you can select from here. And when you are purchasing, if there are any additional costs such as transport, insurance, custom duties, you can add that supplier, that additional cost to this supplier invoice. By clicking this add additional cost, you can add additional cost to this supplier invoice. Then these additional cost will allocate to these items. You can view this supplier invoice history from this option. Create date, create user, date. Okay, if you have any questions, you can ask. Next session, we will start from customer modules. Now we have completed 5 sessions, and next 5 sessions we will complete these balance modules. And if you have any questions before or after the sessions, you can ask, or you can send a message from this chat box. Okay, then we will wrap up for today. Very good weekend. Okay, I think now you, yeah, if you have any questions, you can ask. Mrs. Nandis, yes.
Yeah, I'm still not sure that allocation part, sir. To me, I
Okay,
get it on the left side column, but the right side column, it doesn't appear.
okay. Now you,
How does it happen?
yeah, please check. You have any unallocated
That could be the
payments?
reason.
Yeah.
That could be the reason. Okay, I get it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You can add any additional payments, and you can check without
Yes,
allocating. Yes, yeah, without allocating
without
into a,
allocating.
get into an invoice. You can enter payments, and you can check that.
Okay, thanks for
Okay.
the tip.
Right.
Thank you. Sir.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, bye.